I forgot something. Come on. Recording started. Okay.
Yeah.
So AJ.
So I reviewed, and I did have more of a comment. So I can still make a motion to accept the minutes. I don't recall the actual dates. I don't have them in front of me, but the minutes that you sent today.
Yeah. Well, what was? Let me know because I could probably edit it right now too.
It's not really an edit. I was curious. We in one set we talked about the I think it's the Upper Park bench program. I think it was considered
Yeah.
as a fundraiser. Just wondering if we can talk about it another time. We don't have to talk about it now, but maybe to revisit that and see for next year.
Yeah, I saw that too and realized we never really did anything with it.
Which project?
I had wanted to do a memorial bench type program, and I wrote something up, and then we talked about it, and then there was so much other crap, I forgot all about it. I'm just gonna try to open it if this will cooperate. But I think it would be nice to do something and see, because then we can get some stuff that we don't have to pay for.
I think people would do it. I think people would take advantage of it. It's kind of like the brick. They buy a brick, customize a brick. Just use it and put a bunch of bricks, but.
Do we need any approvals for this from any other boards?
I don't think, because as long as it's just the park. I mean, I had targeted
at Founders Park, for instance.
Some spots.
Rearranging that or putting benches there, is that a big deal?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could leave that one
right
off.
Here we could do whatever we want.
Right.
But the ones in the center of town might be a different story.
Is that the park that Founders is considered our park, right?
We schedule it. I think technically it's our park. It's a park.
Okay.
I think the only person at one point in time that I experienced that was very much a couple people actually, and I think they're both gone. One unfortunately passed away, Shirley Smith, who was dead against doing anything at Founders Park. And then Dick Joyner maybe also was involved. That was very much against doing anything because of it was kind of like untouchable, but Dick's not.
Well, that's why I say the historical commission or someone else may have ideas about exactly what they would want at the town park. I think our areas, the athletic fields and playground areas, all that stuff, I think we're fine with that. It's just, you have Founders Park listed. That's why I was just.
Yeah,
could be a strategy as to what
I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm just saying other people may want to get involved or may have to get involved at some point. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm definitely for the idea. I think it's great.
It could be a partnership too. It could be, historical or other groups would be interested in working with us, but and even the type of bench we use, maybe we can look at different options of keeping it more of that. I don't know what you call it. The actual appearance of the bench or the style of the.
Yeah, they may want like a granite bench instead of a tube and board bench.
My only thing is anything that like that we have to hire somebody to set it up.
Yeah.
I was just looking at like cheap, these.
No, those are fine.
The only thing I didn't think of too, so we have all the tables from the beach now. So we may not need, unless maybe we do a memorial and try and use that to buy, because I wanted to get these kind of tables. Let me see if I can just get the screen to share. I wanted to do like these kind of tables down at the beach, these kind of metal green ones, just because they're simple, they're clean, and they're light. Because those wood ones are so heavy when we have to move them. Yeah. So I was gonna have him just take these wood ones and we'll just put them in the park where they can just sit somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
But so I don't know. We might want to revamp these list of locations. Like we may not need all these benches anymore.
Is this something we want to address right now? Is this something we just want to table for a future meeting, or what do you think we should do here?
I think we can table it. I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
I think
good idea to revisit, and just that was like the one thing that I noticed in the minutes that I just wanted to bring up. But let's look talk about it at another time. We got plenty of time, really.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's,
All right.
it's worth doing. There's a bunch of, I don't know.
So we did approve the spending, and Dan and I were at the last meeting. We approved the spending for the beach, the first segment of it, if you will, from Sean's Landscaping
Good.
with the $50,000 bill. You know, he's got all the demo done basically,
That's
and
great.
some of the site work, like in the playground area, that's leveled off. Another thing we talked about was a drain pipe that goes from the basement of the beach house all the way down to the water.
Yeah.
Basically shot out through the wall there. We're thinking about rerouting that, putting a sump pump in, rerouting it over to the storm drain area, the outflow to the right if you're looking at the water.
Yeah.
Might cost us a few bucks, but I think this is the time to do it. You know,
Yeah.
and not, you know, try to figure it out later, because the ground's all torn up. Might as well do it now. Put a 1-inch pipe in over to the outflow, and we should be good.
Yeah, sounds good.
If we can use 1-inch sprinkler pipe or whatever, I have a whole roll of it because I bought it because we kept having to fix the water line.
We either trench it over to the new basketball
That's
drain.
what I'm thinking, just right across that, right by that curb.
Yeah.
And then the only thing we have to buy is the sump pump, and we'll have to, like, I don't know, you get a bucket and drill holes in it if they make something that goes in it, like
Yeah,
a pit.
they make the thing. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, but I would make a motion to, you know, install that pipe and get a sump pump system going before the spring. Only because we're gonna, you know, that's when the water hits, is usually the spring.
Yeah.
You know.
I second. Plus, we're probably a good thing for the water right that we're not draining from the basement into the actual lake.
Right.
Yeah, that was the fear.
Yeah, Dan, are you going to do the work, or are we going to hire someone?
I think what I'm gonna do, I need to go in that corner with a shovel and just see if that's dirt or something we have to break through.
Yeah.
It looks, so in that basement, it looks like there's like a perimeter like that's sunken. But we can look. I think it's I don't know if it's a full footing or if it's just like a dirt floor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we can just do it. We just dig a hole,
Okay.
put the pump in it,
I just asking if we need to hire a
and
contractor.
then I think we would have Sean just bury the line,
Okay.
and we could probably just run it on the ground for now. Although he's going to drive over it, but
Right.
he that might be the thing to do. And
Okay.
then
I'm also wondering about the depth of it. If it's going to run in the winter, or is it going to freeze? That sort of thing. So I don't know. Could we, when he puts the catch basin in for the basketball court, I think it should run into that underground. Keep it low, like 4 feet down.
those are usually pretty deep, so that's
Yeah. And so we pump it into there, then that can drain over into the outflow.
You know, for now, it could just. I mean, for now, I think we could just hook a garden hose up to it and have it just pump out. I mean, we'd have to be careful to not let it freeze.
Well, that's just it. It's going to freeze unless you keep it
We're
underground.
gonna have to shut it off, probably, because I know the records room has problems with that. The thing freezes and then the thing pops off and floods the basement again.
Right.
But at least
All right, so let's take care of that,
we can look into that.
and we'll bear the expense of modifying that system and getting rid of that drain pipe. Sound good?
Yeah.
All in favor, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah, but any of that small stuff, I think, is just stuff we can do
Okay.
as
All
part
right.
of, versus a, multiple
Well,
$1,000
if you find,
add-on.
I just want to do it right and
Yeah.
not have the basement back up with water, that's all.
I mean, if it turns out we got a jackhammer in there or something, then we'll have to regroup or figure something out.
Okay,
I don't
sounds
know.
good.
We talked last time. I asked Sean. Sean's going to give us a change order to fix up that outfall, that by the boat ramp on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And then the engineer suggested just to use the rocks that he's digging up. So hopefully there's almost no material we're going to need for that.
No, we were talking putting riprap in or something, but if we have the rocks to do it, that's fine.
He's got a lot of room.
Oh, yeah,
You should go see. It's
yeah.
there's a lot.
Yeah, come by sometime, you'd be
Like I
amazed.
said, just drive by. It's the wall's gone. There's big boulders. And I suggested he could just dump them up in the corner there so we can have them for the parking lot.
Yeah.
Or whatever
But
future.
I think that's all we really discussed was, and then there's interworkings with Unilock, trying to get the bricks over there, and we picked out the color. I think that's it for my last meeting, right?
Yeah, so Unilock is I think all set. I've been emailing Dave and Sean.
Okay.
He's putting in the order. They just had to finalize some details. We just need, do you think that's going to be more than 10,000
10,000
All the blocks.
10,000 in money. What do you
in
mean?
cash?
Probably.
So we just got to be careful that I got to figure out how to submit it, because I probably what I'm going to have to do is
Maybe do like the wall.
take the numbers that Sean gave me and get pricing
Yeah.
from some other like Home Depot or somewhere, just so we have some comparables, which obviously
So
will be
they're
much higher.
donating the pavers for the grant, right? And then
They're donating the
and we're getting
pavers.
the wall for.
They're selling us the block at cost.
Right.
I think, and then he hasn't answered me. We should either go over there, at least we can go here and, take a picture with Sean and stand on the wall and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Maybe we can get a sign made. We might consider getting like a plaque or something up, and then it can have on it too, thanks to Unilock or whoever.
Right.
And I think, yeah, and then Sean's gonna have it hauled. I think he said he was talking to Tinio to do
Having
that,
it delivered.
to have it
Yep.
brought here.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think his goal. He put a bunch of. I don't know if it was there last
So
time. He did
just
sand
so
down
you know,
now.
AJ, they had some brownish, lighter colors. We went with the darker gray, like granite gray colors.
Yeah.
So just thought it would, if there's any mold or anything or stains, it would look better in the long run.
Yeah.
One. I'll try and I can put these same things in the chat again if you wanna. He told me they used that lighter color at I think it's at that dispensary they're doing. Those are the two products, and then if you go through on the color options, I think for Concord Wall, we said granite, and then for Bristol Valley, which is, I think, the block, it's fossil.
No. I think it's that one.
Steel
look
Mountain.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the more natural granite looking. I mean,
And that's stain resistant too.
yeah, I think the pavers are some sort of.
They're sealed or something like that. So kids drop an ice cream cone, it's not gonna stick, I guess.
Get the nice brown book on the ground.
Right.
Just looking at the thing, yeah.
So like look like moose tracks after a while. The whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Well, it's that slush, that stuff, it stains everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the recess stairs. Oh, we talked about, so we had asked for alternate pricing on the stairs. We were gonna do two with the third as an alternate, and Sean's the price was $2,500. So
We're just gonna put the third stairway in,
Yeah, that's how.
right near the beach
There's
house.
no reason not to.
Yeah. That's good.
Because there was always one there, just it came out with the wall though,
Yeah.
I'll just put one back in.
Look good too. It'll fit in really nicely. Sean's hoping to get all that stuff done this winter.
I don't know. I think a lot depends on the weather.
Yeah.
I think he's looking to set the wall, and then the rest of it's just stacking the blocks.
Yeah. The
That
wall,
was
it's
the impression
important
I
that it
got.
gets the wall in as soon as possible because of erosion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and stuff like that, issues like that. So I don't know what he can do. It's all weather dependent though. I mean,
Right.
this is a good time for him because he doesn't have cleanups and lawns to do.
Right.
And he wants to keep his crew going. But on the other hand, if you get a blizzard, you get, sub freezing weather, it certainly affects what you're doing. You don't want to be putting a wall in at least the base of it when the ground's frozen because it's just going to shift when it thaws out.
Yeah.
Right.
All
right.
I think of what else we talked about. Oh, and the water, we figured out a way better plan for the water line to just go right into the garage, and then it can feed the snack shack, the bathrooms, and then just do one thing across to the beach house, and then we don't have to dig up anything on the playground side.
Oh, good.
So that, I think Sean was happy. It'll save him some money.
Mhm.
And I think it'll be better for us.
Good.
So I was saying that, so Mnuchin's going to do that, apparently.
Okay.
I guess he does that side of work. So Sean was going to let us know And at some point we'll have to meet with him. We have to mark the exact spot for the wall.
well,
The stairs, I mean.
okay.
Sorry. The
Yeah.
so that's that.
Part of me wants to just line it up with the beach house stairs, but I don't know if it gives you enough room between the two sets of stairs.
Yeah, I'm just what is our where's the contract? No, that's I just want to we sketched it out on this thing. Maybe this is it. You'd think I would have labeled this something better, then I can share this.
Can you see this, AJ?
Not yet.
No.
Didn't we do stairs somewhere? Oh, whatever. I'll just open the plans, and then I can share that.
Yep. Now I see it.
So yeah, like these. I mean, I think these two should be lined up wherever they go. Or no? What do you think?
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
symmetrical. And then you think would you line this one up with the stairs?
I don't think
Same?
there'd be enough land between the
Oh,
two sets
yeah.
of stairways because this one's going to cut into the wall.
Right.
So I think offset. I just don't know if we. Yeah, I think that's a good spot actually, right
So where
there.
he should, I think what's here is he just is what's existing.
Yes, but I think they were in
Yeah.
pretty good shape. If anything, I would move the ones. If you're looking at the water, the ones on the left, I'd shift them to the right just a little
Over
bit.
here.
I'd shift them this way.
Oh, this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Those just my thoughts. Just move it over a little bit, but so people want to start to walk. Looks like you got to cut through the playground to get to the stairway.
With that, I mean, I almost would put one on, or I mean, it could go. I mean, this bench won't be here, or
Right.
we can put these wherever we want. Oh, those My One Wish things they're like a huge hunk of concrete underneath of them. The granite things.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure that out.
Right.
Um,
But what do you think, AJ? I'd like to move those stairs a little closer to the center of the beach, a little bit, maybe like 5-10 feet.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I understand your point. It's
which these
to
ones?
walk all the way down to the end. And the end, actually, in the past, that part of the beach isn't exactly the nicest part of the beach. Like kind of a lot of junk in the ground and stuff, which may obviously change, but
Yeah.
He's gonna rip this all out, and this wall is gonna go to the fence. We figured out. I think they got lazy when they shot all the stuff and they didn't go climb into the brush.
Okay.
So his line ended.
Yeah.
But it's gonna go this last bit.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, on a side note, did that house next to the beach ever sell?
Yeah.
It did, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna email him because we probably should just check in with these people and let them know the plans and just if they want to spend some money, we can replace that side of the fence.
Yeah.
Because it was AJ Giglio. Was it? He was really. That is.
What is this?
He was always really like a really good neighbor.
Yeah.
So hopefully these people are.
Yeah, I knew his wife. Kind of knew his wife, but I don't know if I knew him.
There. So yeah, the wife is Bob Pox's daughter.
Yeah, I don't even know if I know him.
I think
I knew her just from like Jess Grady. I think they were really good friends, if not even somehow related. And probably from way back when Gwen was playing basketball and stuff.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, we'll have to connect with them. But they moved to Upton. Apparently, they moved in with the parents or something.
Any other agenda items for the meeting?
So the other stuff for the meeting was just the budget, and then we can just check in. I pulled together most of the end of the year stuff. So let me do this, and then I will share it. Share, no. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully you can see this.
I can't, but that's really more my eyes than.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll zoom way in because I wish
I
this
can see it.
Teams is not the most. So they asked us to submit our budget requests by the 31st.
Yep.
So I went through real quick, and I don't know if anything sticks out to you. So maintenance, I would put in for $1,000 increase. We've been doing 500, but last year with all that snafu with our request that got denied, we didn't even get the 500, so it was level funded. So I would do 1,000 this year, and then this is the last year of minimum wage. It goes up to $15 an hour on January 1st.
And it stops there, right?
It stops there, and I guess we lose our argument to keep going up. But for me, I put in the 2%. Lifeguards, I just did another 500. The electrical, I would go up 300 because the supply costs are going through the roof.
Oh yeah.
We're lucky because most of our use is in the summer, so like this huge increase doesn't really affect us. But I don't know what it'll come down
Everyone's
to.
bill is going up right now.
That's terrible.
Same thing for fuel. It's gotten better, but I think we probably should be asking for some more money here. The big one, the other ones are level funded, although we might potentially ask for like another 100 in equipment maintenance. I think we should keep asking for more money in this line.
I think you almost have to because any kind of
Brakes.
part it's going to cost more than it did last year. Everything's costing more, so you probably almost have to ask for more. Let them say no.
It seems like the small stuff is not a big deal. If we're asking for $20,000, then
Right.
people get all worked up.
Right.
This one we talked about is the fertilizer.
Right. Yep.
Based on the numbers last year, we're looking at it's an $1,800 increase, and the fertilizer bill is almost $9,000 because the way this is set up is this is half of it. We actually ended up not fertilizing at all because they never responded, and then by the time we got through everything,
We didn't fertilize?
we didn't do anything,
Really?
and it actually seemed fine. But
Okay.
it's
We
probably
don't want to do that two years in a row.
probably good to do it.
Well, then again, everything burned up anyway. So.
Because Diamond never responded to me by the time we got pricing, and we talked to that other gentleman, and it sounds like there are some options, but it's going to be even more expensive. Diamond basically just going out and putting out basic fertilizer. They're not doing analysis and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But we should do it though. So what do we do with the savings?
If we don't spend it, it'll just roll over into free cash, but
For us or for the town?
for the town.
Oh, so
Usually what happens with the budget is that when we get to the end of the year, when we're starting to run out,
Yeah.
a few things like there's usually a couple $100 worth of fuel or electricity that we end up having to pay out of revolving.
Yeah.
So we'll spend it.
I just worry that if we don't spend it,
turn money over to
the
the town.
The town might just say, hey, we don't have to give it to you because you didn't use it.
Yeah. No, last year we turned over $92.
Okay.
And then this year it was 4,000, but that was the COVID year.
Gotcha.
This one was 800. So I usually try and spend down everything we can. And the other one, this came through, was that the plantings on the islands. Apparently, so Ruth O'Grady and some other people were interested in maybe taking that on. So apparently, what's the school there? Norfolk Aggie does some sort of like flower sale. So she was able to buy a bunch of stuff for fairly cheap. So this year they, I don't know how they paid for it. The treasurer's office found money somewhere, but I told her we would ask for some funding
Okay.
to kick in for that.
All right. So the
years
increases
ago.
are fine. Just make sure we get
I don't
the
know if there's anything else I'm
fertilizer
missing.
in next year. That's all.
So we're up 5,000.
Speaking of budgets, what about the new building?
Yeah, there's one other thing though with this. With the lifeguard wages, I don't know if it's worth trying to ask for more money there to potentially look at some sort of a beach director position. So there's kind of a big discussion. So Kim sent an email. They are going to do. We got a grant, and this ties into the maintenance building too, and maintenance position. The town got a grant for a community compact best practices study to look at a DPW. So parks, water, facilities, highway. they're not going to have that until June. It's going to be a whole long process, so we're
Yep.
kind of stuck for this year. So that kind of throws all this stuff into a flux. I think her position, I think they would like to see a DPW. I think you have to really have a strong argument if you're going to go to the voters and try and get rid of 2 elected boards to really change the structure. But who knows how that, would all play out. But I think, but it all ties in like I think we should go talk to them about this building and get it on their radar that's a need.
When are we gonna do it? We've been talking about this for months.
Well, so I did mention to Kim, I think at this point now,
Who do we go to?
I think now is when we send an invite and say, getting into budget season, we would like to be on the select board agenda for a joint meeting to just talk through this issue.
Yes.
And just make you aware that, we understand you don't have $300,000 today, but this is a problem that needs to be dealt with because it's
Yes.
I have a feeling the answer we're going to get back is we don't want to do anything now until this study comes through.
Right, but they need to hear what the needs are, and we need to do that in a public forum.
Right.
Who do we go to?
Them. That was I'm saying it's a timing issue, but I think now is the time that we send something to Kim and the chairman, Mike Maroli, and just say, listen, in January, February, we want to schedule a joint meeting with Parks and Select Board to talk about this specific capital need.
Okay.
And see what we get back from them. I think now is the time to do it.
Okay.
And just say, hey,
let's do it then. Let's. You're gonna craft a letter.
Yeah, I'll email them.
Is it an email?
I'll just email them first and see where we get with that. But I think
I just want to get on the agenda
right.
for that and get it on their radar. I know chances of it happening this year are very slim unless we get a grant, but they need to know that we have a need for a building, or they'll never know and it'll just fall by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean we've talked a few times on and off, and I came up at some of the budget meetings. But I think now that we did all that work, going to them and saying, here's what our needs are.
Yeah.
We got pricing on that option. Morrison Drive theoretically is still on the table. But
well, we should mention that. That's all part of the discussion at the meeting.
Right. But I think now is the time to do it.
Okay. So as an action item, you'll take care of that. Getting us invited to a meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like early. And then I like maintenance. So so the rumor I'm hearing is that Aiden got a full-time job somewhere because he's not plowing and he was going to plow, and I think he's not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to send him a message. I hadn't yet. So that may, I don't know what we got for maintenance. I don't know. We could try again. I don't know if we probably can survive one more year with the seasonal whatever and make it work with the again, when I think the discussion with them is like, this is it. So either whatever this study comes or we're going to next year be looking to add money to create an expanded position because it's just, we've got to do something different. You're going to have the campus.
Okay.
I don't know what our options are. And, we've thrown out all these things. I mean, it sounds like I haven't reached out to anybody yet. I'm thinking Brian may come back for one more year, but then he can't
unless
start
you can
until
drive around
May.
in the truck with him. I don't know what we have to do something else.
Right. Well, it's just hard having different people,
Yes.
and not having I just, however that works out, if the maintenance becomes part of the highway department, if we create some sort of a shared position, I think it probably it either needs to be contracted out or a full-time job of some manner. I don't know. I mean, and really, it's same with the beach. I think looking at that, that's a more challenging position. But I think if there was somebody looking to take on an extra 20 hours to help kind of just coordinate stuff down there, I think that would be a worthy investment.
I'm thinking like Jen, as an addition to what she does now, or
no, I like
someone separate.
A new person. They're full up here.
Okay.
It would have to be like one of the lifeguards maybe that has a second job but could do some work. I mean, ideally it would be somebody who's a lifeguard, a working manager, if you will.
Yeah. Would they be in charge of the shack too?
I don't know yet. I think that depends.
I think we need a job description to
right.
make a change like that.
More, I was just
and what
thinking
their
about,
responsibilities would be, not just lifeguards either, but
yeah,
maybe, I would say they'd be in charge of everything, including the rec program.
yeah, but the rec program is covered with Alan.
I know, but
I wouldn't put
if
another
you're talking
layers of
about a
management.
director,
I'm talking about basically having a beach director like we have a camp director that reports to me, that basically what I'm envisioning is somebody potentially that takes over scheduling,
scheduling the
takes
lifeguards
over
and stuff.
like the day-to-day of the swim lessons, so I'm
Yeah.
not calling parents and that stuff, and is kind of a person in charge down there. So like maybe they're not doing the ordering of food or something, but they're the ones saying, hey, I need you to go clean that bathroom,
Sure,
or maybe even taking on that scheduling.
okay, that makes sense.
That's how it was. That's how it was when I was the director of the rec program, and then we had a director of the beach. Separate. We really didn't even work together, to be honest with you. I reported to the park commissioners, and that person reported to the park commissioners, but we were fairly separate. We did a lot at the beach at the time because the park wasn't like it is now,
Yeah.
not even close. So, but my job was just to because kids could come for free. They just showed up. Back then, you'd have kids just spend the day at the beach. It was different, of course, but we did have a beach director, and that was their responsibility, running the whole beach. We didn't have the snack shack at the time, but we did sell like soda, things like that, but it was very different. No one was cooking. But we clearly had a very clear, distinct, separate roles with the beach director and the rec director.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think, and there's always this weirdness of, like the lifeguards are paid from the town side.
AJ, was that a lifeguard or was it just someone?
It was like, do you remember Debbie Barnes? Do you remember Sue Barnes, the Barnes family?
Yeah.
Debbie was the director at one point, and she did it for, I don't know, maybe a lot of times it was through the college years, I think. But she did managed all the lifeguards, scheduled them, and then like Dan said, she would pop in, and she also would be would lifeguard. She would provide that service, but she ran the whole program down there. We didn't, and we had what was her name? I can't remember the woman's name who I reported on. She's the one I remember one of them, and I really liked working for her, but everything went through them. And then we were fairly independent as well, because the commission wasn't real involved. The parks commissioners. We would just give them updates and stuff. So what I recall, we operated fairly independently. But I don't think we had maintenance at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they did, like Dan said, I mean, kind of typical director's role would manage the whole beach program, and they were the ones down there saying, you guys can't be on your phone, or you can't, not back then, but it was very strict. We couldn't be chatting with each other. We had to be standing a lot. We had to be out on the docks. So it was very strict. My dad was, had run it for a number of years, and he actually might have been the director overall, like Dan, and then I didn't work for him, but I'm pretty sure Debbie Barnes worked for him.
Okay.
I mean, I think probably the way to do it is so I just did the quick math. If you did like $18 an hour times 20 hours a week times 10 weeks is 3,600.
Whatever they do for lifeguarding.
At 40, it's almost $7,000. So it probably would be where you'd probably want to split it, because some of their responsibilities would fall under the revolving account, so to speak. But it might be worth trying to ask for a couple more thousand in this lifeguard account with the, and then we can work on a job description for because I think I'd like to meet again.
Plus lifeguards are expensive anyway.
Well, I mean, the beach, I'll get to that in a second. The beach.
No, would this free you up, Dan, to do other things?
I think that's part of it. It would free me up to be a little bit less on the day to day.
Right? You're between the shack and
right,
trying to keep lifeguards in order.
It'd be nice to have somebody do what Alan and Jen do for the camp down there. Okay. That could kind of
all right, makes sense.
Keep an eye on things, and
I think this year might be it's, I don't say easy, but it could be easier to rationalize that position with basically the renovations to the beach. You know, we can kind of, I don't know, again, assume might not be the best word, but that we're going to get more people down there. It's going to be so much nicer.
That'll increase the revenue, so.
You would think, yeah, you would think of the playground, everything about it. I really do. I think we're going to see more people down there because it's going to be just so much nicer.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't know how much. I mean, I'm almost inclined to ask for the same $3,000 to $5,000. And we have plenty of money on the revolving side.
Yeah, why not? Why well, let them say no or cut it back? Might as well go a little higher. Go low. They say fine, but why not go higher? Gives us a little bit more flexibility. Because you're not necessarily looking for a lifeguard that's going to run the place. Looking for somebody that's got some experience with, supervision, things like that. Scheduling. The whole on a minor level, but the whole shebang with being in charge of a program.
Right. Well, people like if we could bring back. So I forgot this isn't shared. I'm gonna put. Why don't we do 20,500? So it's a $4,500 increase. And then, so that gives us 4,000 plus we would kick in some from the revolving side for the shack. And as you said, like the arts and crafts that they used to do, like that's the stuff we've gotten away from. So having somebody that could maybe coordinate that sort of a program might be worth exploring.
Well, you're going to get the investment too. I think if you have a director down there with maybe the investment with the swim program, someone that really wants to take that on and advertise it, really promote it.
We can definitely do more down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have the people in place. Dan can't do it. He's too busy.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with the maintenance situation.
Right.
I mean, I've almost thought it might, at the parks level, it might make sense to you'd have a director of Parks and Rec and then have like an assistant director that focuses on programming.
Mm-hmm.
That is almost a second, potentially even full-time or year-round position.
Right.
Because I think my strengths are more in the logistics facility, that side of things. So, and bringing somebody on that has more of a focus on programming might be nice, really useful.
And the programming can make you money.
So
right.
I just don't know how, if you could get the town to pay for that, or I mean, it's $20,000 in insurance alone.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to move on to another subject.
Yeah.
You guys good with that discussion? So I think we're in agreement to accept the budget as is. I'll make a motion to accept your proposed budget for 2023.
I second.
Or is it 2024?
FY24.
24.
Right. I second the motion.
I'm just gonna do this so it records what I put. Okay, so then all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
So the other thing I wanted to was, did you go to that multi-board meeting the other night with Board of Health and about?
Oh yeah, I can tell you what. It was nothing, but I can tell you where we're at with that. I do have some news, and then I also had updates on our programming.
Want to do that first?
Well,
if you still want.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I'll email this out. I'm just gonna read. So So the Snack Shack, we closed out at a profit of $1,900. So that's not bad.
That's good, yeah.
The camp, we profited on paper $92,000 from the summer program.
Wow.
So our net total for everything, when you take out software fees and everything, we're up $83,000.
Great.
Wow. Nice job.
Thanks. The current balance in revolving account is somewhere around $98,000.
What's our max? What do we get approved for?
150.
So we can only spend 150 a year. 165 a year is the current limit, and I'm going to up it again to like 175, and just every year I think we should add 10 or 20.
Yeah.
And that can get raised with FinCom and Select Board.
Mm-hmm.
The balance now is not capped. We can have $1 million in there.
Oh, okay.
It's just how much we can spend each year.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, overall, I think we're in great shape. The beach was interesting. It technically operated at a loss of $5,800.
That's lifeguard wages.
The town beach. So it's swim lessons, admission, season passes, and then lifeguard wages minus the money that was lifeguards for the camp.
Yeah.
But if you look, let me open up the other sheet here.
So the other thing, Dan, is do we have, I'm thinking the amount of days that it was closed because of the E. coli and all that, difficult stuff going on, that obviously we weren't putting money in. I know they weren't working, but we still weren't putting money in on those days, right? So I don't know if that would affect the overall at all, would it bring it down some to say that if you have like a daily general intake compared to our lifeguards, we were making maybe, $50 a day or maybe more, but we might, I mean, that had, do you even have a kind of a guess how many days we were closed last summer because of the E. coli?
Yeah, hang on a second. Can you still hear us?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, everything just froze, so I might have to close and reopen this.
Okay.
Because I can't see anything. There we go. All right, no, it came back.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
see it.
now you see this? Okay.
Yep.
So we closed early, only 13. We were open. Our season was 66 days. It was a little shorter. We only closed early 13 days, and last year was 14. So that wasn't, I mean, it was a pain in the butt from whatever, but I don't think those closures,
That didn't affect it, yeah.
and they weren't like crushing, but that like total admissions was down from 21 down to 16. Residents is the same. Non-residents dropped. Passes were a little lower, but we also
we went up in our fees though too.
We did raise. Well, this is what's fascinating. Our admissions, we collected the highest amount of total admissions that I have recorded here, and I go back to 2006 at $5,800. Mm-hmm. And I think part of that was the fee increase, and same with season passes. They generated a profit, which is more money. The money that they would paid on top of admissions.
Yeah.
That's the most profit we've generated on season passes in a long time. So our total admissions is not bad. I mean, we're still technically supposed to make back that entire 16,000, which we're not doing. But the idea that it costs the town, $5,000 to $10,000 to run this entire beach facility,
right?
That's not terrible.
No,
I mean,
the town's obviously invested in the beach by proving all that money to have it renovated. So if you go back whatever number of years, there was discussion about closing it, and now they want to invest in it, which is awesome. And the majority of people I've spoken with, pretty much everyone I've spoken with, sees it as a worthwhile investment. So I'm not sure the town's going to be too concerned with losing $5,000 or whatever, if you want to call it that. But interestingly, it's we lost money, but did the Snack Shack do better than the previous year?
Well, I'm getting there.
But AJ, to your point earlier, we hope to increase admissions.
Right.
And so the revenue will go up, so it'll cost the town even less in the future.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're on the right track. So the swim lesson program that we restarted, we profited $2,600. So we're back to, that's pre-COVID. So 2018 was 26.
Yep.
2019 was only 1,400. So that worked out good. And then so the beach, when you look at the beach, so we lost, we were profiting 1,000, and then this is COVID, lost 7, lost 8. Now it's only losing 5. So I think we're in the right track.
Yeah.
I think the renovations are going to drive attendance, which is going to get us back. So the Snack Shack, I'm just going to skip to the bottom here. Hang on, where's the total profit? There's so many things. No, camp snack, employee meals, Shack. So the Shack, we didn't make as much money. Last year we profited 4,100. This year we only profited 19.
Okay.
I think that
that's consistent with less people.
Well, yeah, we upped our payroll a little bit because we really need to be staffing pretty much 2 per shift. It's just that's a lot to have one kid by themselves. especially when they're only
Well,
16.
especially the time of the day too,
Yeah.
right, noontime or whatever.
Our income was pretty consistent, 22.3, 22.1. Our expenses actually were pretty consistent too, which is interesting when you look at the food cost increase. It didn't really hurt us terribly.
So what went up then? Just the pay?
Payroll went from 9,400 to 11,000. So
Okay.
we had more payroll, and I should put hours in here. Our food costs are right around, they were down to 39, now they're 40, but better than 46, so that's good. So our labor margin went up. It dropped, and then that was off of that. And then this is the camp. The camp, we took in $190,000.
Yeah.
Our payroll was $86,000. Like it's nuts. And we had the highest number, 254 registered kids, an average of 81 a day.
Wow.
I mean, those are the best numbers we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
And then this is the final P&L. So, we're looking up 48, up 50. We lost 7 during COVID. Then we were up 50. Now we're up 83. So I think we're in great shape.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do, we probably should meet again in January, and I can finalize so we get all our programming. I know we got to figure out a junior counselor program. I just got to pull it all together so we can go through and talk about, because I think we should think about, we could certainly invest some money back into the camp and stuff.
Right. Should we get some early conversations going back to maintenance with Brian? Maybe he wants to be the team leader this year, but the problem is his schedule, right? He gets out early, but he has to go back early.
And it wouldn't be terrible if he could start in mid-May.
Yeah.
And take over. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Because the fall is less of a deal. I mean, it's weird. This year we didn't get hit as bad with the growth that we had in previous years. Mm-hmm. But it's probably worth sending him a message now.
Would he be the manager, sort of what Aiden did? Or would he just get a bump in pay and do whatever he's done in the past?
I don't know. I think, I don't think we can pay over 18.
Are we revisiting the maintenance manager thing?
I mean,
Or we're going to go with past practice?
My initial thought was to draft the description to just basically say we're hiring maintenance. We need you to work in the summer, but if people have more availability, we're interested in it. I don't know if I would repost the foreman position as a separate, more expanded role.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't think we can pay over $18 an hour with our current budget. This is a sheet that I have a sheet to do the math. So if our budget's 31.5, if the foreman makes 18, if the returning person makes 16, and I just did 16 and 15 just for numbers with 3 people all the way through August 25th.
Change the name of that then to lead.
Oh yeah, this is just a budget sheet, but yeah. We can call it what we want when we do our
lead and then return 1, return 2, whatever.
Yeah. So this is probably all we have money for. I mean, I think 3 people worked well. I think that's a good number based on our equipment and kind of running a little bit lean.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting stuff done and we're going to have to, maybe we need to have a weekly check off of, we'll have to think about all that, but I can reach out to Brian and find out what his plans are, because it would be good to know we at least have him. And I assume, I don't know about Chris. Is he still in college?
He was going master's. I think he's going right to a master's program. Because although Trevor's all your age, no, Trevor, I'm sorry, you're Nigel. All Trevor's age, they'll graduate next year.
Right.
I think, he was good, and then we would just need 1 more. And maybe that'll get us through.
He might be more inclined to come back. I did talk to his father at one point, and I think he really liked working with Brian.
Good.
But I think, so I'll reach out to Brian and just send him a message and just say, hey, just checking in what your plans are. And I'll double check with Aiden. I heard through the grapevine But I'll
That's
just send a
fine.
message and just say,
That's
you know,
fine.
hey, I heard you got a job.
That'd be good if you get a job.
Because I'm sure he would love to, you know, if it was a full-time job, but yeah, I guess it's up to him. We'll post the job and people can apply for stuff.
Mhm.
But I think the goal will be to get all that compiled, and then maybe we can do a meeting in early January, finalize all the programming, get all the openings posted. And, you know, if there's stuff like they said, I want to talk through a junior counselor program, put that together. I'm trying to think of what else I'm forgetting. What else is on the agenda? Budget hiring. Oh, I can't spell. Site visit. There's no field use. I'll just send out a message. I don't have anything new.
Okay.
And I guess I have to bug the engineer about the septic so we can get some proposals and then we could talk to softball about that.
And we're gonna, you said you're gonna give us an update
Oh,
on
the beach.
meeting?
So yeah, it kind of turned into a whole lot of nothing. It was like a 3-hour meeting long, but so I'm trying to remember how we left it all. I suggested what I said to the Board of Health is I would like them to address the septic, even if it's not causing a problem. I think we should know what's around this lake. You know, if somebody has a cesspool, we should really dig into it and understand, you know, why is it compliant?
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
well, I missed the.
You dig into it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, that's kind of my frustration is looking, you know, like you know, the house right there that they had all those problems with. You know, have we followed up on that? Do we have pumping records? Are they now doing all the things? I mean, we don't know. They are going to ask for additional funding in their budget for testing, and I think Lonnie's been going to their meetings, and I think he's pretty supportive of it.
Testing the lake.
Lake testing. So I'm gonna look over that study and come up with a plan. I've been talking to the lab. I'd like to see us pick like 8 or so points on the lake, and then have them do like E. coli, nitrate, phosphorus, and like once a week, and have them come out and either we sample and they just core it, bring it to the lab, or it may be worth just paying them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure it out and price it out, but it sounds like there's support for that, so we can really, and maybe even start that like in the early spring, or maybe even like, you know, as soon as we can.
Okay.
You know, and really understand what's going on. I think Lake Nipmuc has been doing some testing, but I can't seem to get results from them. And I know they're very concerned over in that cove with stormwater outfalls. There was somewhere they dye tested, and the water's going right into the lake. And that was the other thing they talked about was dye testing. The Board of Health really wants to do dye testing around the whole lake, and they're trying to figure out the best time of year to do it. And Joyce was trying to get a hold of somebody from the DEP.
Is that just storm drains, or is that septics also?
I think septics is what they're thinking. Personally, I think it's a waste of time, but I think if you get to see the dye, you get to see the raw sewage. But that's kind of where it's at. I mean, I think I'm trying to be nice, but I kind of almost want to like submit a records request and just tell them, you know, give me all your septic stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, it seems like that's where their focus should be, is, you know, going through all that and trying to identify, like, you know, there's properties that are exempt from Title V, but are they really? You know, I mean, I would potentially even, you know, look at the deeds, make sure it's really being sold within the family, make them prove if that stuff happening. So I don't know. Not a whole lot to report.
Is there another meeting coming up?
They meet every 2 weeks.
Okay.
They were, and I know, so they were talking about trying to set up like a big information panel, and then I think they kind of stepped back from that and realized that maybe wouldn't be all that useful and wasn't necessarily.
Well, that was
a place to
Alan
organize.
Greenberg's idea, was to do that, to
Yeah.
get, you know, a testing company in, someone from Parks, someone from the Board of Health, someone that does septic systems, you know, on the board. It wouldn't be any power wielding board. It would just be an informational type of meeting set up. So, which is okay, but I don't know. what the purpose of it would be.
Yeah, when I was sitting in the meeting, I sent him an email. I'm like, here's just looking at first glance, there's 5 or 6 properties that I would question and say, does this one have a Title V? Do we have plans for this one? Blah, blah, blah. And they had that whole spreadsheet, but have they actually like gone through it and updated it?
Right.
Because it was the stuff that Missy did. And I also suggested to Joyce that maybe we just, have an informal, like, every Friday or something, we meet and go over stuff. But she actually didn't answer me. I should give her a call.
So are we invited back to their meetings, or can we just show up? Or
yeah, so I think they kind of
how-
had a standing item on the agenda
Yeah.
for this topic, and they were hoping Wayne Phipps was going to go, but I think he couldn't make it. But I think
And this is the Board of Health.
it's the Board of Health. I mean, I think it's hard because each board is involved in a piece of it. Their legal authority is septic systems and the testing, which technically we would do the testing and supply it to them. It's just in this town, they just do the testing.
Mm-hmm.
Concom, I think, is involved, does the weed treatment and is involved in like new construction stuff. And then I think our involvement mainly is our business at the beach, if you will. So I think it's trying to like get those people to work together and identify pieces that they can take on.
Well, and
Yeah.
if one of us should go to the meetings, should one of us go to the meetings, like take turns, and you went last month, I'll go this month.
Yeah, I mean,
That kind of
it's just honestly they just go in circles and they talk about whatever, and it's like we got to get to the next step, and I don't know what it takes to do that. If somebody needs to just take on that workload of I'm going to go dig through all the data and put everything together, and
I thought they did all that, and all we need to do at this point is start testing.
that's what I got to go
And
talk. That's what my
investigate
email
and test. Yeah.
sent, is I wanted to know if they had reviewed that data since Missy compiled it, or if
Yeah.
Jack just took all her stuff and made it, put it in one place.
Mhm.
That was that's what I haven't got an answer. I was thinking
So,
or Parks would focus on the
And
testing.
again, off
aspect.
the record, I had a conversation with one
Yeah.
of the members, and they said that if they started digging into these septic systems and they found one that's bad, right? What do you do then? Who's going to pay for it? What if they're low income
Wow.
and they need a new system, right? So it's $20,000, $30,000, right, for something
Yeah.
new. Is there assistance out there that could help them?
It sounds like Joyce looked into that. There was the septic betterment program, but the interest, it doesn't make any. It's better for you to get a loan from your bank than the loan. The rates, it was like a subsidized thing, but it wasn't. It was like 5%. I had started talking to the Community Preservation Coalition a little bit to get some information. I actually reached out to Chris Lanou to get some. It's possible that CPA funds could cover the cost of doing Title V on every house around this lake.
Really? Okay.
You bid it out, give me a package price for 100 Title V surveys. The problem is you would need the property owner's consent, and like you were just saying, if you do a Title V and it fails, the clock starts and you have 2 years to fix it.
Right.
But I also wonder if there's an opportunity to do some sort of a further subsidized program. Because it's hard to spend public money on private, but you could argue that the town assisting someone replacing the septic benefits the whole town.
Yeah, it benefits the lake.
And maybe that's only a 0 interest loan. I don't know if it could be much more than that. But I would think that's a pretty minimal. I mean, granted, it's a ton of work at the town hall that they're going to maybe not want to deal with. But it's a potential option if a system was identified to understand if that's a legal possibility.
They would have to allow you to test their water, to test their system. The town can't just go in and say, hey, we want to test your septic system.
I believe the Board of Health has the legal authority to order you to do a Title V on your property.
Okay.
And if you refuse to comply, I think they have the authority to send back, we're going to assume your system's in failure and start the process to condemn your house.
Okay.
The Board of Health will never do that, and I understand. I wouldn't want them to be,
Politically, it's not a
you know,
good thing.
that's a really
yeah.
aggressive action.
Yeah.
So, but I had this conversation with somebody. It may be something to bring to Lake Nipmuc, to the association. And, you know, listen, you know, you're all concerned about this. You need to work together and get everybody on board.
But
Because,
the idea was to get these groups together, our group,
you know,
the Lake Nipmuc Association, Board of Health, which is great, as long as we can do something about it and not just keep talking in circles.
yeah, like I don't mean to, you know, call anybody out, but to say, you know, like, you know, I'm a member of this group, but then I'm going to refuse to test my septic and I have an old, you know, cottage with a cesspool, then, you know, I don't know where
Right.
you go from there. So you know, I don't know. I'll keep doing more research. I had started over the summer and then I kind of tapered off to try and understand
Well, my concern,
if
and I'm
CPA
sure
would
all
do
of,
anything.
you know, AJ's and your concern is that we're building a new beach.
Right.
And we want to see it open,
Mm.
right? So we're investing, the town's investing, and it'd be really sad if the beach is closed, you know, a dozen days this year, right? That's lost
Oh.
revenue,
Yeah,
and it just gives us a black eye
absolutely.
when it comes to operating, and no one's gonna wanna go there. So we try to increase our revenue, we're trying to increase attendance, and we can if the beach is closed and it's in the paper that, you know, E. coli showed up at the beach again, you know?
Right. I mean,
So,
I think I'm gonna focus on the testing short term and basically write something up and say this is what I would, you know, and hopefully the Board of Health will get behind it, which I think, you know, I think there's interest in that. So and then I'm gonna try and do some research on potential funding options.
is this something we should try and just say, can we just get the 6 closest houses to the beach tested? Is there any merit in doing that? Like just,
Well, so
we don't
like
need, but I don't want to test the whole lake.
this house though that
Yeah.
just sold,
Yeah,
we should have a Title V in hand. It was outside the family transfer.
yeah.
So that should be really simple to just say, here's the Title V, you know it's good. Okay, great. And that was part of what that email was to Joyce, is those were some of the ones I picked out and just, you know, so I'll just follow up with her or Jack and say, listen, you know, what's the deal here? Could we do, because that's
And
right.
this is a public swimming area. I think we have a right to just look at the
Yeah.
houses just around the beach, right? And just focus on them instead of the entire lake. Just, let's focus on this, let's fix this first. And then we can maybe replicate that throughout the rest of the lake. You know?
Yeah. But I don't know. We need an internship program. That's what we need. This would be like a perfect project for somebody to do, because it's research is the problem.
I don't know what there is to research. You do a test, if it fails.
Well, the
you
town
fix
side,
it.
you have to go ask for the information on the property. You have to document it in a place and get it all in.
6 houses,
it's a
8
big
houses
project.
tops.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's not like the whole lake.
Yeah.
I'm saying, let's
no, I
start,
agree. I
let's
would
start
push
with the
on
most
that.
critical area where people actually bathe in the water.
Right.
Right, and it's public. We focus on this particular area. Let's just say 1,000 feet to either side, right, or less.
Yeah.
And then we get this fixed, and then we can go to the rest of the lake. And
Well, that's it. You know, maybe we should do that. Just send them more of a formal, like, here's a public records request. We want the most recent data you have on these 15 properties.
right,
And then go from there. And then, because I think the way this is going to play out is that we would go back to them and say, we're concerned about this property for this reason. What are you going to do about it?
Mhm.
And take it that way.
right,
So maybe that's something we should look into.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
I'll
those
try.
are the things I wanted to
I'll have
talk
to give
about.
Joyce a call about
Okay.
that and see what she says. But right, because we're gonna get all these people here and then be shut down.
Right. So they meet. The Board of Health meets every 2 weeks.
They seem to meet roughly every 2 weeks on Wednesday nights.
Okay, okay.
Um,
AJ, would you be willing to go to one of those meetings?
Yeah.
The Board of Health? Okay.
Yep.
Wednesday nights?
I mean, if we can, maybe in January we can come up with some data.
All every Wednesday.
Oh,
League. So Wednesdays I'm not available.
okay. All right, just trying to map this out here because, having a presence there, so, they'll talk about it one week and then maybe not for another month or two. So by then the opportunity's gone. So, right, between Dan and I, maybe we can hit these meetings and get them to really focus on it.
Yeah, I think we just, I think it would help to bring them some action items, and then follow up on it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're gonna head over to the beach, AJ. You want us to put you on the line so you can see it on the phone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go down and see it. Probably not tomorrow or Friday because it's supposed to rain, right?
Yeah, probably.
Friday.
You're gonna want to go next week. It's gonna get super cold after it rains, so.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, you probably like mid next week or something be a good time.
Yeah. I'll go down there and check. I'll head down there today when I just wait for UPS
Yeah.
and I can leave.
What, you got a new engagement ring? Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Fifth is next May, so
Yeah.
but for Christmas I decided to kind of go all out. So I got her a couple Louis Vuitton bags.
Oh, nice.
Louis Vuitton passport case and a Louis Vuitton like purse or I don't know what it was, but I figured finally, start treating her good with the Christmas presents, but they won't leave her without a signature, and there's nobody home.
Right.
Are we done with the meeting?
Yeah.
And then, so we're just gonna look at the
Make
beach.
a motion
We're not
to
gonna deliberate
adjourn the
anything
meeting.
down there.
Second.
So I'll just cut out this,
Sounds
Okay.
good.
clip that little
Hey,
bit.
guys,